evening and thanks for joining us on Nationwide. Today I'm Elizabeth Omori. President Bola Tinubu has officially begun his state visit to the state of Qatar with visits to the headquarters of Qatar Foundation International, an umbrella body of organization providing humanitarian support in parts of Nigeria. State House correspondent Musbah Wahab brings us details.
The city of Doha felt the presence of the president of the largest economy in Africa as he stepped out for his state visit. And as the authority conducted the Nigerian leader and his team around, it was first to their place of pride, the National Museum of Qatar. With exquisite exterior architectural design and immersive interior, the space represents a classic edifice only of its own class. The gallery spaces indeed engaged all the senses in telling the story of a nation and its people, the rich heritage and culture of a country passed on from generation to generations, well accounted for and kept alive. The Qataris say the center does not only house their history, but it is also part of their journey. President Bola Tinubu is the first Nigerian leader so honored with such a journey back in time through the evolution of the state of Qatar.
I'm glad I'm here. It is a great honor. You learn every day of your life. And you see the beginning of nationalism, patriotism, and various challenges along the way. It's marvelous. It's detailed, well-detailed statement of history, culture, and growth, and economic opportunity.
The visit also serves as an inspiration for the visiting delegation.
And you know, we have a plan to do a national museum and a number of other museums all over Nigeria and a number of museums even within some of our missions abroad. So this has been a great inspiration, and I can see where we can tap into the wealth of knowledge of what they have done here in Qatar and to be able to add value to the arts, culture and creative economy within Nigeria.
The president was also led to the headquarters of the Qatar Foundation International, a non-profit organization dedicated to education, research, and community development.
Qatar Foundation, unlocking human potential.
With construction of schools, orphanage homes, clinic, and more, the foundation, through its charity arm, has been lending supportive arm to some states in Nigeria, including Kaduna and Borno.
I think the presence of the President of Nigeria will push forward the Qatari Foundation to broaden their support to Nigeria, especially in the areas of education, health, as well as community development, most especially in the areas of research.
The delegation see a future of a wider collaboration in knowledge sharing between the two nations. From Doha, Musbah Wahab, NTA News.
Meanwhile, comprehensive data on the pattern and quantity of energy mineral lithium are available at the Nigerian Geological Survey Agency for businesses interested in establishing lithium companies in Nigeria. Solid Minerals Development Minister Dele Alake gave the assurance in Doha, Qatar, at a meeting with Qatari businessmen on the sidelines of the visit of President Bola Tinubu to the Arab country. Responding to inquiries on the quality of Nigerian lithium by Qatari business mogul Sheikh Shahid Jawad, Alake says mineral exploration initiated by the federal government has identified locations where lithium occurs in commercial quantities in high grades, encouraging Qatari businessmen to visit the country and witness the immense opportunities in mining. Alake notes that the Nigerian government has put in place generous investor-friendly policies to facilitate business. The investors promise to take advantage of the business-friendly policies of Nigerian government by investing in the solid minerals sector. Now, the Republic of Bulgaria pledges increased bilateral relations with Nigeria, especially in the areas of economy, education, and military cooperation. Both countries affirmed ongoing discussions in these areas at the celebration of Bulgaria National Day in Abuja. Ekene Ndulwe brings us the details.
It has been 60 years of bilateral relations between both countries, and the National Day of Bulgaria provides the platform to reflect on the journey so far. For the Bulgarian ambassador to Nigeria, it has been a period of fruitful partnership. He says both countries are in talks for expanded relations, and results will be seen in coming months.
We are very proud that the Bulgarian business and the Bulgarian and Nigerian business are already working together to revive what was known before as Bulgaria-Nigeria Economic Partnership.
We have got visitors from Bulgaria that came to Kaduna and sample our soil for the benefit of our people in terms of agricultural development, and we also have an engagement in the educational sector.
Members of the Bulgarian parliament are also in Nigeria, engaging the National Assembly on various areas of interest.
In their stay here, they visited the parliament, they observed our sessions, they observed our committee engagement, we took them around the National Assembly complex, and of course, particularly the House of Representatives. I must tell you, the whole intention is to build relationship and to see where we can take advantage.
Our visit is the first from Bulgarian parliamentaries for many decades. But it won't be the first, it won't be the last, and second, it will be followed by business, by universities, because we want to help Nigeria build its infrastructure again.
The National Day of Bulgaria symbolizes the country's liberation from Ottoman dominion in 1878. And here in Abuja, it is an opportunity for members of the diplomatic corps to relax and build friendships across continents. In Abuja, Ekene Ndulwe, NTA News.
Away from bilateral relations, the Nigerian Army has re-echoed the importance of traditional institutions and local governments in the fight against insecurity across the country. Speaking at a stakeholders meeting organized by the Alumni Association of the National Institute, Director General of the Army Resource Center, Major General Garba Ayodele Wahab, lamented the consequences of insecurity in Nigeria, while urging citizens to also assist security agencies with information. Other stakeholders advocate non-kinetic approaches in winning the war against insecurity.
You need to go to the grassroots level, the local government, because we want everybody to be involved. At the local government level, people know themselves. And so we need to get that clear. And the governors should and must allow local government, 774 of them, to function and perform effectively. If that is done, it becomes easier for us to get permission.
Security in its broadest sense embraces far more than the absence of violent conflict. It encompasses human rights, good governance, access to education and health care, and ensuring that each individual has opportunities and choices to fulfill his or her potential.
Meanwhile, the Defense Headquarters is advocating youth inclusion as critical component in the renewed onslaught against criminals in the country. Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa stated this in a message at the National Security Summit in Abuja.
The role of youth in the fight against crime is essential, as they constitute a significant component in the nation's population and the workforce. However, despite their energy and strength that ordinarily should have been a resource base, many are used as enemies against the state by unpatriotic elements. The CDS says no to this culture.
I unequivocally consider the youth a critical stakeholder in curbing the insecurities in our country, Nigeria. Beyond conventional roles, the youth can actively contribute to intelligence gathering, community engagement, and the integration of technology solutions in our security measures.
This National Youth Summit is focusing on curbing insecurity, achieving a robust and sustainable economy for a new Nigeria, youth inclusivity in nation building.
You have a long year ahead of you, so you must be part of the security architecture. Without security, there can't be development.
This platform is designed, mostly the summit, is designed to alert security agencies that they should start including youths in the fight against insecurity. These all activities are done or perpetrated by the youth constituents in the country. So you cannot solve these issues totally without involving us in the issues of fighting insecurity.
The conveners are proposing training of youth from all the local government areas and the FCT to support the military and security agencies with intelligence reports.
Now, the Yobe State Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps resolved more than 50 farmers' herders conflicts last year. Commandant of the NSCDC in Yobe State, Adamu Idris Zachary, stated this at a live simulation exercise in commemoration of this year's World Civil Defense Day in Damaturu. Adam Yusuf Ali reports.
A personnel of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps Yobe State Command in a live simulation exercise in counter-terrorism and counter-insurgency operations, showcasing their preparedness to save lives during emergencies. This is part of activities to mark the 2024 World Civil Day observed in many countries in the world to promote the value of being prepared for emergencies and to increase public awareness of civil defense and emergency management. The Commandant NSCDC in Yobe State, Adamu Idris Zachary, said their dogged fight against criminal elements such as vandals and economic saboteurs has yielded positive results, particularly in resolving about 50 conflicts between farmers and herders in Yobe State.
Nigerians as a whole and security agencies in particular need to put heads together to see that we are secured from any security challenge facing us.
The theme for this year's celebration is Honor, Heroes and Promote Safety in Damaturu. Adam Yusuf, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu receives with deep sadness and news of the passing of Nigeria's ace comic actors John Okafor, famously known as Mr. Ibu, and Tolani Quadri, Oyebamiji, known as Sisi Quadri. President Tinubu condoles with the families of these gifted thespians who brought joy and relief to millions of Nigerians by their art. The president urges the bereaved to take solace in the truth that though these beloved Nigerians have passed on, and they will always be remembered in their works. The Nigerian leader also commiserates with Actors Guild of Nigeria, Theatre Arts and Motion Pictures Practitioners Association of Nigeria and the entire creative community, assuring them of his support, thoughts and prayers in this time of grief. President Tinubu prays for the peaceful repose of their souls as they have departed. You're watching Nationwide on NTA. It's time to head to Lagos, where Michael is standing by with some reports. Nice to see you, Michael.
To see you, Elizabeth. The Republic of Benin has signed an agreement with the Nigerian Navy on the possibility of docking 6 of its patrol boats at the Naval Dockyard in Lagos for repairs. While performing the function on behalf of Nigeria in Cotonou, the Admiral Superintendent of Naval Dockyard Limited, Rear Admiral Bolaji Orederu, sees the bilateral agreement as part of the Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala's vision of positioning the Nigerian Navy among the elites in the world. Joe Popola reports.
After 2 years of rigorous planning to strike a deal between the two nations, the initiative of the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, eventually yielded results, with the visit by the Nigerian Navy to Cotonou, Benin Republic, to formally sign the bilateral ties, which will see 6 of the patrol vessels of the Beninoan Navy head to the Naval Dockyard in Nigeria for repairs. The Naval Dockyard in Lagos has been an enviable asset that has earned Nigeria respect in the international community. This, the Nigerian ambassador to Benin Republic, Saidu Degi, says will be leveraged upon and also boost the capacity of navies within the region. Rear Admiral Abolaji Orederu signed the agreement on behalf of the Chief of Naval Staff alongside the Chief of Naval Staff of Benin Republic. Under the terms of agreement, Nigeria will repair Benin Republic patrol vessels for a period of 10 months.
Ça va impacter le développement de l'économie bleue de notre pays.
This project, if conducted rightfully to the end, that will impact Benin Navy, but that will also impact the blue economy.
Rear Admiral Oredero says the agreement will serve as a catalyst for Nigeria's economic development.
This project, approved by the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, Admiralty Medal, gave us that impetus, that push to be able to further solidify the relationship between the two navies. So this is a starting point, it's just the beginning, and by the time we are done with these repairs, the Benin Republic Navy, we are very sure, will be ready to commission naval dockyard to also build vessels for them.
The initiative is expected to deepen synergy between the two nations and advance frontiers for the protection of the Gulf of Guinea. In Lagos, Joel Bukbola, NTA News.
As part of effort to eradicate the negative economic impact of counterfeit currency in circulation, a syndicate that specialized in printing counterfeit currency were nabbed by the Zone 2 Police Command Headquarters, Onikon, in Lagos. Larry Bilei has details.
The Central Bank of Nigeria recently drew the attention of the public to the circulation of counterfeit naira notes, especially higher denomination, which are often used for transaction in food markets, consumables, point of sales business, POS, and other commercial centers. Victims of these fake currency notes narrate their experiences.
Of what the woman bought from me was, I think 87,450 thereabout. So while counting the money after the woman left my shop, so I discovered that I had two 1,000 naira notes, fake notes.
So I went to all these POS people. I want to withdraw 10,000 naira. So she gave me the money, and unfortunately, I got to where I want to use the cash. The woman said, "This is a fake naira note. Is this new naira note, not the old one?"
62-year-old Ilela Bayo Johnson of a four-man gang allegedly specialized in circulating fake naira notes. They were recently nabbed by the Zone 2 Command of the Nigerian Police for allegedly printing counterfeit banknotes, even in foreign currency.
I used 90,000 to produce, but 50,000 is my profit.
The stamp that I will make, I will place it in front of my machine. So when I put this on top the machine, the heat will press to the naira.
Recovered from the suspects are printing machine, 180 million Cameroonian CFA suspected to be counterfeit, 9 million naira in 1,000 denomination also suspected to be counterfeit currency. In Lagos, Larry Bilei, NTA News.
Port Harcourt. The Nigerian Army First Quarter Maiden Education Conference has ended in Port Harcourt with a pledge to improve security across its command schools towards enhancing teaching and learning. Diba Barisedo Maweke, who was at the conference organized by the Nigerian Army 6th Division Port Harcourt, has details.
The Rectorate has the core mandate of planning and executing programs of the educational establishment of the Nigerian Army, as well as providing training support facilities required for professional excellence of the Army and command schools. One of the talking points at the 3-day conference was the issue of improving the quality of education within command schools and how to foster an environment that nurtures critical thinking, adaptability, and creativity. Commander Nigerian Army Education Corps, Major General Bello Toho, represented by Commandant Nigerian Army Institute of Technology and Environmental Sciences, says the conference has addressed issues that will enable it to reposition command schools and reorientate teachers towards effective teaching and learning.
The theme of this conference highlights the critical needs to adapt and upgrade our educational institutions to meet the evolving challenges of the 21st century.
General Officer Commanding 6th Division Nigerian Army Port Harcourt, Major General Jamal Abdulsalam, says the platform was provided for education experts to exchange ideas and articulate ways of improving on discipline in Nigerian Army Command schools with a view to contributing to the advancement of education in Nigeria.
This division continues to guarantee the security of lives and properties as well as to safeguard critical national installations within our area of responsibility.
The conference objectives is to reorient teachers as the most important resource, enhance the capacity of the teachers towards effective teaching.
The conference had lectures and interactive sessions, while souvenirs were presented to stakeholders, including the Zonal Director, NTA Port Harcourt Network Center, Dr. Evelyn Wonsu. In Port Harcourt, Dibabari Siedomaweke, NTA News.
World Hearing Day is an annual global advocacy to raise awareness on how to prevent deafness, hearing loss, and to promote ear and hearing care across the world. Ifoma Mesa reports that experts are calling on Nigerians to be cautious against unsafe and listening practices that may expose them to hearing challenges and permanent deafness.
Ear is an important and visible part of the human body. It plays a crucial role in the hearing mechanism of the body. Therefore, its care is a necessary approach every individual should inculcate. To raise awareness about the unsafe practices that lead to impairment of these auditory parts of the body, the World Health Organization set aside 3rd of March annually as World Hearing Day. Research shows that people with hearing loss often have difficulty in interpreting speech sounds, which results in ineffective communication, delay in language acquisition, educational disadvantage, social isolation, stigmatization, and poor quality of life.
Generally, it's not advisable to have a lot of contact with noise because you can be predisposed to hearing loss. Staying close to speakers is bad for the ear.
You can actually introduce things into the ear that will end up giving ear infections. And once the ear has an infection, it gets prolonged and the hearing begins to be an issue.
My interaction with the public reveals that they are oblivious of the dangers of exposure of the ears against habits that may lead to hearing problems.
When my ear itches, I'll put cotton board, and sometimes I'll just be doing the thing to be tangling and I'll forget myself.
The theme for 2024 World Hearing Day, Changing Mindsets, Let's Make Ear and Hearing Care a Reality for All, highlights the importance of correcting misconceptions of hearing loss that are common among the general public and primary health providers. In Port Harcourt, Ifoma Umisa, NTA News.
And that's it from Port Harcourt. It's now back to Elizabeth in Abuja.
Thank you so much, Jenny. President Bola Tinubu and His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Emir of the State of Qatar in Doha, witnessed the signing of historic agreements between both nations, opening a gateway for leveraging the potential of mutual cooperation in pivotal sectors of education, enterprise development, investment promotion, youth empowerment, mining, tourism, and sports. Before the signing ceremony at the Qatar Presidential Palace, President Tinubu assured his host of Nigeria's preparedness to welcome investors into the country, noting the ongoing reforms that favor innovation, return of investments, and multiculturalism. The president says the nation's strength lies in the capacity of Nigerian youth. They have energy, talent, and self-belief. They are quality partners for Qatari industry. They're educated, reliable, and proactive, ready to add value to the global peace and development. The president notes the rapid pace and thorough quality of Qatari's development process, adding that it is impossible not to be moved by what the country has accomplished. He added that Nigeria faces some short-term turbulences at the moment, but the present administration is ready to reflect the dynamism and talent of the Nigerian people as the country is ready to implement the right solutions through collaborative efforts. The Emir of the State of Qatar is Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, emphasized that Qatar is open to President Tinubu's investment push, recalling that he traveled to Nigeria in 2019 owing to his belief that Nigeria is an important and strategically on its own and within the context of its role in regional affairs. During the bilateral deliberations, President Tinubu enabled a brief presentation to the Emir by the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Dele Alake, who spoke in details about the high grade of several minerals, including lithium, immediately derivable across the country, with an emphasis on imminent opportunities for local mineral processing and value additive industry in the country. Nigerian ministers present at the ceremony are Coordinating Minister of Economy and Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edun, Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, Coordinating Minister of Health, Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pati, Minister of Trade, Industry and Investment, Dr. Doris Uzoka Aniti, and the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, Mr. Ekperikbe Ekpo. Also at the meeting, the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribado, and Special Advisor on Energy, Mrs. Olu Vedin-Jen. Now let's talk politics. Coalition of Southeast APC support groups commends President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the transformational steps taken to manage the current economic situation in the country. The coalition says President Tinubu has displayed strong will to revive the economy through cost-cutting measures and other proactive steps to transform the country. The coalition appeals to the federal government to reconsider the merging of Project Development Institute (PRODA) Enugu with Naseni, as it is the only pride of the Southeast.
With what President Tinubu has done so far by setting up a committee to work out the implementation modalities and giving the committee 12 weeks timeline to do so, shows a president who is ready to put action to works by ensuring that he has a leaner public service structure. With the current economic downturn not only in Nigeria but across the globe, we welcome any policy, step or initiatives geared towards reducing the cost of governance and cutting wastages in government.
Groups say the Southeast will continue to support the renewed hope agenda of President Tinubu for more dividends of democracy in the zone. And the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has set up an 11-member post-primary election reconciliation committee for Edo State to manage the fallout of the just concluded party primary in the state. In a statement, the party announced Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed as chairman of the committee, which also has former Kaduna and Bayelsa States Governors Ahmed Barkafi and Serike Dixon, Senators Tunde Ogbeja and Stella Owu as members, former PDP National Legal Advisor Emmanuel Enyodin SN is to serve as secretary, while Jacob Otopa was named administrative secretary. The committee is to reconcile all critical stakeholders and party members in Edo State ahead of the September 21, 2024 governorship election in the states. In other news, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, congratulates the Deputy Senate President, Barau Jibrin, on his conferment with a doctorate degree by the Bayero University, Kano. In a congratulatory message, Akpabio says the Deputy President of the Senate deserves the honor bestowed on him by the university, noting that Senator Barau's experience, being one of the longest-serving lawmakers, continues to enrich legislations in the best national interest. Now, the federal government is in talks with the International Fund for Agricultural Development for the second phase of the Livelihood Improvement Family Enterprise Project, jointly funded with states in the Niger Delta region. Musa Babali reports that beneficiaries are being engaged to become trainers in agricultural development and management.
Ifiam is a graduate of Industrial Chemistry from Federal University of Technology, Yola, Adamawa State. After waiting for years to get hired by either government or private, she decided to go into fish farming. She was trained and supported by the International Fund for Agricultural Development Projects, Life ND.
Those of us into the fishery industry, we are helping the society because the number of fishermen and women being brought together by IFAD has really enhanced protein level consumption in the society.
And here is the unveiling of a new platform that will provide another opportunity for the trainees to become trainers known as incubators. Abiodun Sani is the national coordinator of the project, says the platform has created job opportunities in the agricultural sector worth more than $30 million in the Niger Delta. It has so far created and supported 22,150 enterprises out of the targeted 25,500 across the participating states.
LABIF is intended to be an institutional structure that will address the multidimensional issues of profitability, access to factors of production, control over prices, access to financial resources, and non-existent social capital that confront smallholder farmers in our country.
So definitely the state will be encouraged to make sure that the counterpart fund is paid.
The 6 participating states are Abia, Bayelsa, Cross River, Delta, Edo, and Ondo. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government says all plans have been concluded for the commencement of food distribution to vulnerable Nigerians nationwide. Minister for Agriculture and Food Security Abubakar Kyari says the flag-off of the distribution of grains would be in Niger State and subsequently in other zones of the Federation. The minister reveals that the Office of the National Security Advisor and all relevant stakeholders will partner to ensure smooth and transparent distribution of the food items.
We are going to start making deliveries, and as they go, and we are targeting local governments anyway, so we take it to the states and then on to the local government. So it will be on the template of NEMA. NEMA is the one doing the distribution, and the Office of the National Security Advisor.
Niger State government has also procured more than 120 trucks of assorted grains to complement federal government's food palliative distribution. President Bola Tinubu is expected to be in the state for the distribution exercise. Fatima in Makurdi for more reports.
Thanks for joining us in Makurdi. The Benue State government has granted autonomy to the judicial and legislative arms of government to make them independent and accelerate decision-making process. This was part of the resolutions reached at the end of the State Executive Council meeting. Correspondent Elias Itiaf has more.
Briefing newsmen on the outcome of the State Executive Council meeting, Chief Press Secretary to the Governor Tesokula said the autonomy as granted by the Governor will fast-track decision-making process. The Chief Press Secretary also said the Council declared the payment of salaries and pension as well as infrastructural development as a top priority for the Governor alias-led administration.
Payment of salaries, payment of pensions, and infrastructure development are no-go areas in this government. There are areas that if you have 1 kobo, Excellency will insist that 1 kobo must be applied on these areas.
The council also approved a sum of 351 million naira for the purchase of a plot of land as permanent site for the Benue Links Motor Park in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja.
ESCO approved the sum of 426.5 million for the establishment of a standard underpass, a similar of what is happening at Highway Roundabout in Makurdi, was flagged off for construction at GRA Junction in Boku for approval for them to have a lab where materials will be tested to be sure they are of standard.
The ESCO also constituted a committee to draw a framework for onward transmission to the Benue State House of Assembly for a law to enable the establishment of the Benue Subnational Funds for Savings. In Makudi, Elias Etiaf, NTA News.
Governor Hyacinth Alia of Benue State has charged the 3 newly sworn-in local government caretaker chairmen of Ukum, Katsinala and Boko to be accountable and transparent in carrying out their responsibilities. The governor urged them to re-inject vibrancy, commitment and selflessness in the administration of local government, noting that as leaders at the tier of government the closest to the people, they must avoid recklessness in the management of resources to provide the necessary social services to the people. He reiterated his administration's readiness in ensuring accountability and adherence to due process in governance, urging them to prioritize the principles of good governance at all times. Speaking on behalf of the new appointees, caretaker chairman of Katsinala Local Government Council, Justin Shaku, appreciated the governor for the opportunity given them, pledging their commitment to the realization of government's desire to bring development to the state. He promised that they will replicate the transformation agenda to their various local government areas and called for sustained support for the governor to actualize his plans for better Benue. And that's it from Makudi Nationwide.
Thank you so much for staying on. Welcome to Enugu. The governor of Enugu State, Dr. Peter Mba, has signed the new Enugu City Development Bill into law. Chika Ugu reports that also signed into law are the Enugu State Geographical Information System Service Bill and the State Independent Electoral Commission Amendment Bill.
The laws are part of the efforts by the state government to guarantee the future of the younger generation, automate governance process, mobilize the state's revenue, and enhance quality of service delivery. The governor, Dr. Peter Mba, says the new Enugu City Development Agency law has an administrative authority to manage the development of a new city master plan, while the Enugu State Geographical Information System Service law will ensure the automation and digitalization of processes for service delivery.
What we have done here today is a bill that we have signed into law that allows us to set up an agency that manages this information, our property information system, our survey and land information system.
The NCEC amendment law, on the other hand, will bring the state's election management body at par with amendments to the 1999 Constitution as it concerns electoral bodies.
This is further strengthening the institution. Recall we had also said we're going to ensure that we mobilize our domestic revenue and enhance the quality of services we provide.
The governor applauded the speedy passage of the executive bills, which are for the betterment of the people. In Enugu, Chika Ugu, NTA News.
And the wife of the Enugu State Governor, Nkechinyere Mba, has flagged off a mother and child health care and welfare project which she christened Costos Care Foundation. Chika Ugu again reports that the foundation will address all barriers of social inclusion and security, especially amongst women and children.
Women and children constitute the most vulnerable people in the society. One of the most significant challenges faced by them is maternal and child mortality. The United Nations, through the Sustainable Development Goals, is working towards reducing the maternal mortality rate to less than 70 per 100,000 live births by 2030. According to findings by World Health Organization, Nigeria accounts for second highest number of maternal and child deaths globally. Enugu State government has been making frantic efforts to achieve the global 2030 target, hence the flag off of Costas Care Foundation.
Foundation resolved to focus on 4 key areas, which include mother and child health care and welfare, primary education for all, women and youth empowerment, social protection and mentorship.
Chairman of the council areas promised to ensure that the program is sustained in the various domains and advised women to take advantage of the opportunity for the betterment of their lives and that of their children.
It's gratifying to be able to touch a life, and all they can say is thank you.
Cash gifts and food items were among the items given to the women to help alleviate their sufferings. In Enugu, Chika Ugu, NTA News.
And those are the stories from Enugu. We'll now rejoin Elizabeth in Abuja for the continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you, Chinenye. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have intercepted a 40-year-old businessman with 1.45 kilograms of cocaine concealed in his luggage while attempting to board an Ethiopian airline to Vietnam via Addis Ababa from the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. Salwat Khalil Ibrahim reports.
The bag. Yeah, for here now is my bag.
The suspect was arrested at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, after the officers of the NDLEA subjected him to a thorough search and found the illicit substance concealed in his bag. He claimed he was on a business trip to Vietnam. Meanwhile, operatives of a special unit of the agency on Friday, 1st March, swooped on members of a syndicate that deal in methamphetamine, cocaine, and heroin in their hideout in Lagos. Operatives also raided the home of a suspect where over 10 kilograms of the substance was found in the possession of his associate, while another suspect was arrested. 429 grams of cocaine and 7 kilograms of heroin recovered. Operatives in Ogun State on Thursday, 29 February, recovered over 160 grams consignment of cannabis abandoned in a truck at Shagamu Toll Gate. In Lagos, 25 cartons of tramadol containing 325,000 pills in Ikeja were seized. More than 2 million capsules of pregabalin recovered from a suspect at Singa Market, Sabon Gari area of Kano, were handed over to the Kano State Command of NDLEA by the Department of State Security, DSS. In Kogi State, NDLEA officers on stop and search operation along Okene-Lokoja Abuja Expressway also intercepted a commercial bus conveying 28 compressed blocks of cannabis sativa, 100 bottles of codeine-based cough syrup, and 500 tablets of diazepam, all concealed in 3 plastic drums covered with cattle fat heading to Jos Plateau State. The 243 Battalion Nigerian Army Badagry on Saturday, 2nd March, transferred 27 sacks of cannabis sativa recovered at a coastal community to the Seme Special Area Command of NDLEA. Also, a suspect was on Saturday, 2nd March, arrested with 44,950 pills of tramadol at Moranti area of Borno State by NDLEA operatives. In Abia State, NDLEA operatives raided a drug joint at Cemetery Barracks, Aba, where various quantities of cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamine. Another raid was carried in Aba, where illicit substances were seized and suspects arrested. Chairman of the NDLEA, Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, retired, commended the officers for the arrests made within the past week and applauded all the commands across the country for intensifying the WADA advocacy. Salwa Khalil, NTA News.
And next, some sporting stories.
The English Premiership on Saturday saw a 99th-minute dramatic Liverpool goal by Darwin Núñez to beat Nottingham Forest 1-0 when the game is certain for a draw. The Liverpool's attacker did not waste time in converting McAllister's cross into the Forest goal. And in other matches, Tottenham Hotspur came from behind to beat Crystal Palace 3-1. Chelsea and Brentford shared the spoils. West Ham beat Everton at Goodison Park 3-1. Alex Iwobi's Fulham edged Brighton 3-0. Newcastle put 3 past Wolves, while Manchester Derby is coming up Sunday. And to African games, youngster Matthew Kuti has been included in the 10-man contingents listed by the Nigerian Table Tennis Federation (NTA) for the 13th Africa Games in Ghana. Kuti, who dominated the local scene in 2023, winning the majority of the national tournament in Nigeria, will be making his debut alongside Aruna Kadri and 2 other players to compete in the men's event. And to a bit of athletics, Great Britain's Gemma Ricky continued her bid to win a first global medal by qualifying fastest for the women's 800 meters final at the World Athletics Indoor Championships in Glasgow. The 25-year-old Scot judged her effort to perfection to win her semi-final in 1 minute 58.28 seconds to build further confidence before Sunday's medal race. And finally, reigning Formula 1 champion Max Verstappen opened his bid for a 4th successful title in dominant style with an unchallenged cruise to a Red Bull 1-2 victory in Saturday's Bahrain Grand Prix. The Dutchman enjoyed a perfect day as he led from pole position to took a bonus point for the fastest lap on his way to finish 22.4 seconds ahead of Mexican teammate Sergio Perez. Carlos Sainz, who will be making way for 7-time champion Lewis Hamilton at Ferrari next year, took final podium spot in 3rd place ahead of Charles Leclerc. The trump under the circuit footlight was Verstappen's 55 career trump and 2nd in a row in Bahrain. With Sport Update, Suleiman Musa, NTA News.
In Sports Update ends nationwide today. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Good evening.